This program is brought to you by Extratech, a leading professional IT training institute. And 3B's Education and Visa Services, a leading Australian education consultancy.
Namaste and welcome to another special non-resident Nepalese Association Australia Nrna election episode of the Influence Academy with myself, Anusha. Nrna Australia is having an election online on July 31st. Since its establishment in 2005, Nrna Australia has come a long way in representing the Nepalese community in Australia. Nrna Australia is the largest community organization of the Nepali diaspora and has done few brilliant jobs over the last 1.5 decades. Tonight, joining me online is Mrs. Sukriti Bhatta, who arrived in Australia to study international relations. With her keen interest to pursue her education, she completed her postgraduate in human rights from one of the prestigious universities in Australia. She is currently working with the New South Wales Department of Education. She believes education is fundamental in achieving the basic principles of dignity, equality, and mutual respect for all individuals. In terms of involvement in Nrna Australia, in 2019, she took up the responsibility as the National Secretary. She and her team brought a range of programs to support our community, not only to enhance women's empowerment, but to bring forward women's perspectives into programs and decision-making. She has registered her candidacy for New South Wales Deputy Coordinator this year to continue her commitment to our community. A quick mention to our sponsors, Extratech and 3B's Education and Visa Services. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Sukriti to our show. Thank you, Sukriti, for accepting our invitation and joining us online.
Namaskar. First and foremost, thank you so much for having me today. It's an absolute pleasure and opportunity for me to have my say to you and to your well wishes, of course. I'm really pleased to be here.
Thank you. Pleasure's ours. So let's start the program with a personal question that I'd like to ask you. You came to Australia to study Bachelor of International Relations. So what was the primary plan you had in mind to pursue this course and your reason to choose Australia for further education?
Perfect question to start off with. I came to Australia in 2002 in Melbourne to, of course, pursue a Bachelor of International Relations. The plan was never to stay in Australia, frankly speaking. It was to finish my course, go back to Nepal and get into diplomacy because my father was a diplomat as well in his times. And I did want to, he was a big role model for me, of course. And I wanted to pursue the same field of diplomacy and foreign affairs. And that's the reason I studied a Bachelor of International Relations. But unfortunately, plans did not go as according to what I had planned. So I continued to stay on in Australia for personal reasons. And unlike my peers, Anusha, I must say, I went completely off grid. And instead of pursuing a career, I decided to pursue a family instead. So after completing my studies, a Bachelor of International Relations from LaTrobe University, I moved to Sydney and met my husband, and we started our family here. So that was the whole intent of staying in Australia. The initial intent was never to stay here. But fortunately, I must say, it has been, nearly 20 years in Sydney, and I'm absolutely in love with this place.
Wow, that is a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing it with us with such details. Let's dive into the NRNA Australia election scene. Since its establishment, NRNA Australia has done commendable work, from helping flood victims, earthquakes, and recently COVID-19. It has sent millions of dollars in donations. Not only that, NRNA Australia started the Nepal Festival in 2006, which was and still is one of the most significant culture and heritage showcasing events held worldwide. It is an commendable task, considering that all the staff or personals within NRNA work as volunteers. So, what made you contribute your time with NRNA Australia?
First and foremost, I must thank the many people who have come before me in NRNA and have associated their time and volunteered their time away from family to bring it to where it is now since 2005. All of the festivals that you've talked about, the projects to do with the flood victims or the earthquake victims, or even helping out the international students here, is a collaborative effort of the members of the past. And it is a continuation effort from all of us who have decided to take on this journey. Now, my association with NRNA does not go far back. It started off from the last tenure. I had heard of NRNA, of course, as one of the most recognized Nepali organization outside of Nepal. It brings together all of the Nepalis who do not live in Nepal. So I had always wanted to know a bit more about it. So I got the opportunity to, of course, work with NRNA from last tenure, where I was involved with the Women Forum, Nari Nikunja, Australia, and I did perform my role as a national secretary, and it was my absolute privilege. And it instilled in me my commitment that, yes, this is what I want to do. I do want to continue working for Nepal and for Nepali, regardless of where I am. And that's where I am today.
Wow. So you started your involvement, like you mentioned, in NRNA Australia in 2019. So where you
Yes.
took up the responsibility as the Women's Forum National Secretary. So you
Yes.
did a range of programs for supporting the community and enhancing women's empowerment. And
Absolutely.
I commend you for your interest in bringing forward women's perspective into programs and decision making within NRNA. As with everything, there are various aspects. For example, the lobbying capacity of NRNA with NRNA Australia with the Australian government, or paneling practices. In your opinion, what are the shortcomings that the upcoming NRNA Australia leaders can improve?
Of course, no organizations can move forward without reflecting back into our own practices and looking at what we are doing well, what are the shortcomings. And yes, there are shortcomings, and one of them I must acknowledge is the gap that we have with collaboration with our local bodies, community bodies, with our local councils, or with the local political systems. Because we cannot forget that we live in a country where there are so much of resources and support systems available, and the collaboration does not necessarily have to be in a political level. It has to start off from the community level. So I think I wouldn't say, look, I cannot speak for what has happened in the past. What I can speak for is what has happened in my tenure as the National Secretary of Women's Forum. Yes, there was a bit of distance between us and the local community. However, we did try and bridge that gap by collaborating with the New South Wales Department of Justice and Communities. I think I did get the title wrong. I think it is the Department of Communities and Justice. So what we did do was we did engage with a liaison officer, and she helped us bring about two programs as part of Nari Nikunja Australia, which we were very proud to bring out to our Nepali community. One, we focused on healthy family relationships, which was brought to the community following the incident of a domestic violence issue, I understand. So, with the increasing issues with, it's not only women centric, it's an issue with the community. So understanding the significance of it, we thought we might as well, instead of putting a negative tone to it, it's about healthy relationships. So we brought about that, it was a face-to-face seminar for community leaders, because I did understand that it is important for community leaders to know what resources are available so they can pass it on to their own communities. Anusha, you must appreciate we have over 100 Nepali community organizations. Our target was to reach out to the community leaders so they are well aware. The second thing, what we also did with the same liaison officer with the Department of Communities and Justice, was bring about a program for international students to support them in the COVID-19 situation. So that was another thing. So yes, I do understand there is a gap in terms of our connection with the local bodies. However, we are making an attempt to address that. It's not a big leap, it's one step at a time.
Wow, that's incredible what NRN Australia has achieved since its inception. That's great work, and our numbers are growing. So are the numbers of high achievers within our community, like yourself. So do you think all intellectuals and scholars are concerned about NRN Australia activities? Do you see any gaps on those aspects and the ways to improve?
Anusha, I think I might just politely disagree with the statements of the inclusion of intellectuals and scholars, because how do we define intellectuals and scholars? If you're referring to professionals besides business people, because that is the majority of our cohort within the organization, are business related personnel. But if you are referring to the engagement of other professionals in the organizations, then yes. So, there is that distance in terms of their engagement. There is no denying that. But what one has to understand, Anusha, is that this is a volunteer organization. You cannot force somebody to participate. We can only encourage their participation. There is, yes, there is a bit of a lack in different professional backgrounds, but it's not to say there are none. There are people involved in it, but because the majority is related to personal businesses, and that is each individual's personal choices, and we have to respect that. And it is a volunteer organization. People have to volunteer to come and be part of this. But by no means is it a disadvantage that we don't have those personal from different professional backgrounds. It's again, you have to be in it from the heart. You have to really want to commit to it. It takes a lot of time, effort away from your family. But in respect to the people who are already in here, I believe they are quite intellectual in their own right. They all are their own experts in their own professional fields. So, by just calling out to people who may be of professional backgrounds, we might just be doing injustice to them. So I have to acknowledge the people that we have within the organization. Yes, there is a bit of a lack, but we will get there slowly.
What I meant was, like, we are growing in numbers, and we are, for example, you came here as a student. So you are a high achiever in one sense, right? So, and you're contributing your time voluntarily, you're contributing your knowledge to our community. So you are one of the example of the scholar that I'm mentioning. And there, and every one of us come here in student visa. Majority of us come in here student visa, and we graduate from the top universities. And we are growing, and we need everybody involved more than ever. And often we see that those individuals who are involved in NRNA initiatives are connected with their families. So their families are involved in NRNA initiatives, and that's like a family tradition. That's what we see, And so my question was, how can we get more of the scholars who are such growing? For instance, we are 1,410 years ago. And now we are 131,000 now, and we all came here in a student visa, and so we are growing in numbers, right? So we are here and we are living here. So how like we need more scholars to be involved and be interested in NRN initiatives, and we need participations from our second or future generations. And all candidates believe in their responsibilities like yourself, and they are moving forward to secure their seats. So what are your main agendas as the New South Wales State Coordination Council Deputy Coordinator, and how do you plan to implement them?
In terms of our main agendas, look, what I have to say, Anusha, is our core responsibility as NRNA SCC is to support, promote, and protect the rights of Nepali individuals who live away from their country. Their needs will always be changing depending on the circumstances. So, my core agenda will be what the need of the society is to help reach them, help connect them to the resources that is available. As a deputy coordinator, I have a fantastic, I wouldn't say a fantastic team yet because we are yet to be elected, but the team I'm associated is led by, Dr. Ganindra Regmi, who has a particular vision to include all of the different professionals into one particular team, and we are seeking the vote of course, the members to vote us in so we can implement the different programs. So I have to be in line with what because we cannot do anything on our own. It has to be a team effort, right? So NCC, as you know, is a National Coordination Council. They will have a team, an overarching agenda, which will, of course, flow into what the SCC can do within its state. Each state will have their own needs depending on the kind of diaspora they have. The increasing number of students are going to different states as well. But what we have to take into consideration is, yes, there will be a specific agenda, but my role as a candidate for deputy will be to fulfill the needs of what the society demands or what the society needs. I cannot have a rigid agenda, but what I can say is I can commit my time, my effort, my skills to be able to address the issues that come our way. Our issues can be anything to do with the students, of course, be it the emerging number of students who are in Sydney. It can be in relation to family issues with the emerging number of families who are making Sydney home. When I talk about New South Wales, it does not do justice if I only speak about Sydney. A lot of Nepalis are actually going to the regional areas. So how well are we connecting this Nepali diaspora moving to the regional areas with the local support system that is available in the regional areas? So that is where my focus will be. So in terms of what I want to pursue personally, my core goal is to support all Nepalis who are here who need that support. And of course, as a deputy, my role is well defined by the Constitution of NRNA Australia. I'm there to support my coordinator, and each individual member who comes on board as a SCC, each one of us is unique, each one of us is independent. So my role will also be to support each one of them in making themselves better as a proper decision-making individual for the organization. If that makes sense to you. I think I blurred quite a bit.
that makes sense. That is a well-oiled plan you got. And as you mentioned, you are associated with NRNA to volunteer and work voluntarily with the community, with your agendas and with your plans to help our community. So how are you planning to manage your time between your job, NRNA initiatives, and your family?
Absolutely. So when one decides that this is what they want to do, it is not a choice that, I have this or that. It is a well decided or well thought about decision to say, I want to commit my time to NRNA. So when one makes up a decision and says, yes, I want to raise my hand to become a deputy coordinator, it's about time management. It is a very fine balancing act, but it is my choice, a decision that I have made and that I am committed to. So in terms of how I'm going to manage it, It's not going to be easy, but I have the full on support of my husband and my children. And that is the reason why I'm here. Because as you understand, Anusha, we all live nuclear family lives in Australia. We are dependent on one another as husband and wife. We depend on our children for a lot of things. And the support that I have as the family is the only reason why I'm here. And they are going to be my pillars in trying to help me manage work, family life, and NRNA. Of course, the commitment to the community, but that's a choice I have made. And there is no option of, whether or not I'll have the time. It's a commitment that I intend to keep.
Okay, that is a good and genuine commitment for time management effectively and efficiently. And I do have like a question for you. So there are 5,749 approved members in New South Wales alone, which is 37.61% of the total members. The New South Wales State Coordination Council will consist of 21 members in total, and you are required to have excellent leadership skills and time. So what leadership skills do you bring?
I think I will be talking a bit too much about myself when I say, what are the leadership skills that I bring. But over the last 2 years, I think in thinking about what does the organization need and what is it that I can bring about a change in terms of leadership. I've had a lot of, concerns in relation to NRNA doesn't do much for us. I think the problem has been that we are not getting into a conversation with what the needs of the community are. So this is where I come in. I am an active listener. I listen and I'm ready to learn, because just because we are in an organization that does so much does not mean we are not open to learning, because the NRNA that was established in 2005 is very much different to the NRNA that is here in 2021. The diaspora has changed so much. The needs of the community has changed for us so much. So I think if you are asking me to outline one particular leadership skill, I would say I am an active listener and I'm a team player.
Mm-hmm.
I want to listen. I want to know what we need to do. And I would like to say that I'm quite a team player to kind of navigate through the different conversations that's happening to identify what the real issues are. So I might sound a bit too, impolite when I say these are my skills. But when it comes to raising your hand and say, this is the leadership quality and this is the leadership position I want to be in, I think I have to be able to identify what my qualities are. And I say I am an active listener and I am a team player. And that's what I'll bring to my team.
Sukriti, in my opinion, leadership skills are essential in all endeavors. So in a non-profit like NRNA Australia, which requires extra commitment, passion, and dedication, it is even more crucial that key leaders galvanize volunteers. Right. So if leaders project, themselves as a genuine belief in the system and the energy and optimism to make it succeed, those on the front lines or behind the scenes will be reminded why they chose this work in the first place. Right. So that is my opinion.
Okay, so I will definitely take that on board. And while I said I am an active listener, that's where it comes into being, because each member, when I talk about member, Anusha, it's not only about the SCC. Always remember, NRNA is an organization. The solid foundation of it is volunteers. So what we need to understand that each volunteer, whether they hold a position or whether they're part of another organization, they have committed to work with us. So to be able to understand what they really need. And I think as a leader, what we can also do is each individual is unique. They have the individual quality. What I need to do is lend them that support that they need. What is their voice? Let's hear it. What do they want to do? So each one of us has the responsibility to run this organization. And as a leader, it's my responsibility to make sure that their voice is heard, and what they want to implement, I support that. So it has to be done in a cohesive manner, it has to be done in a respectable manner, and it has to be done based on trust.
Wow, thank you so much, Sukriti, for sharing your ideas and your genuine agendas with our viewers and us. And would you like to say a few words to our voters and people of Nepalese diaspora in Australia?
Absolutely, Anusha. First and foremost, I must thank you and your entire Everest TV for giving me this opportunity to have a say. What I would like to say is, in the past that I have been involved with NRNA, the general feeling that we got, Anusha, is that there's a lot of connection with political parties. We don't want to connected with it. And this is where we come in. I think for the first time ever, with the leadership of Dr. Gyanendra Regmi, he has formed a team of individuals from different political backgrounds, different professional backgrounds, different age group, different gender, to come together to have a voice for everyone in the community. This is, we've got this whole team where we are saying NRNA is Hamro NRNA, Ramro NRNA. So what I would like to do is take this opportunity to request all the listeners, the viewers, to vote for us. We are the right team in the right position. We are counting on the votes. Definitely vote for me. Definitely vote for the team. At the end of the day, it is what the ballot will call, and we will have to respect it. Thank you so much, Anusha. Much appreciated.
Wow, thank you so much, Sukriti, and wish you and your team all the very best. On
Thank
that
you very
note, I would like to end tonight's episode, and I'll be back next week with more special episodes. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.